Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. It is the start of set 15, and as I always do at the start of each set, I'm going to record this video for anyone who might be new to Teamfight Tactics, with the assumption that you have never played this game before, you don't know any of the mechanics, so we're just going to try to walk through using some of the gameplay that I recorded here, and this was a game that was played on the first day of set 15 being released on the live client, not on the public beta environment, which is what some of the other videos I had previously recorded on the set were for. So let's go ahead, just enjoy some of the gameplay and talk our way through this game. Now, Teamfight Tactics always starts with an initial encounter. That was what we had there. We had the Twisted Fate encounter, which means we start with 2 component anvils. Those are the little, anvils sitting on the bench, and we can pull them to get some additional item components. So the basic idea is we'll basically get a little bit more in the way of items for this game than we would for a normal game. You also might notice that we had something called a power snack pop up. This is the set mechanic. I'll talk more about it later, but we basically get the ability to give an extra power or an extra ability to one of our units. As I said, that is the set mechanic unique to set 15. So I'll be talking more about that as it goes on. In broader terms, though, Teamfight Tactics is a player versus player game. In this game, you build a team using the League of Legends characters. They all have different abilities. Some of them are, damage dealers. Some of them are tanks. Some of them are spellcasters. Some of them are more support utility units. You get the idea. They all have different traits, different abilities. You can see in the shop down at the bottom of the screen what their abilities are. And then when you put them on the board, they will put those traits in play. So for right now, the only trait I have in play is something called Executioner, which gives extra critical strike chance. We will also get 3 augments throughout the game. These are different things that give additional bonuses to your team. I have taken one that allows me to play this unit Garen, and it actually changes a little bit of how he works. He's normally a tank. This is going to cause him to be a little bit more in the way of a damage dealer. Then I'm also going to take the time to pull my item anvils here. So I'm going to get the choice of some different item components, or I believe that I do that here. Maybe I waited, but I thought that I did that right here. Yeah. So I'm going to get the chance to build some item components, and I'll go ahead and look to make some items out of this. I'm not going to talk as much about items in this game because that gets a little bit more complicated, but basically you can give your units, you put items on units and it gives them additional powers. And then I'm going to take this additional power here using my power snack, which is going to cause Katarina to execute low health enemies and drop gold when she does that. Okay. So, let's talk a little bit more about the basics. As I said, you field a team of League of Legends characters. You can play one unit for each level you have. I'm currently level 4, so I can put 4 units on the board. And as I said, they all have traits associated with them. For instance, right now, the main unit I'm playing through is Katarina. She has 1 trait, Executioner, which gives her additional critical strike chance and additional critical strike damage. And her other trait is Battle Academia, which is a trait that I don't have in play yet. You can see in the little list over there on the left-hand side of the screen that I have 2 Executioner in, I have 2 Bastion in, that is a tank trait. I only have 2 out of 3 Battle Academia, so I do not actually have that trait in yet. I will have to play another Battle Academia unit to get that trait in. But units count towards those traits. The more of them you have in, the more you get the traits. Obviously, at the start of the game, when you only have a handful of units on the board, you're not going to have a lot of traits in play. As the game goes on, you will get a chance to play more units, and you'll get a chance to have more of those traits in play. They do all different things. As I said, some of them are a tank trait. Bastion is a tank trait. It gives armor and magic resistance to your team, and more of those to your Bastion units. Other ones are vertical traits that are kind of like the mainstays of each set. By the way, Katarina's getting some nice executes here. She printed me 2 additional gold, which is really nice. I'm actually going to sell another unit to get to 20 gold. Some of them are spellcasting traits. There's a trait called Prodigy in this set that causes your units to cast faster. By the way, I've already found 5 Katarinas, which is pretty wild. I'm hitting a lot of Katarinas very early in this game. And then there's other traits that are more utility focused. Maybe they give your team shielding, or maybe they give your team just some other kind of ability. But there's a whole bunch of them. Every set, there's new traits that do different things. And that's part of the fun of playing the game, is getting a chance to experiment and try out all of the various different traits that you have. So as I said, different units have different traits available. And you buy units in the shop at the start of each round. You have the chance to buy them. Once the rounds begin, you technically can still buy them, but you can't put units on the board once the round has started. The gameplay in Teamfight Tactics starts out with a couple rounds where you build your team. There's always a couple planning rounds to start out. Then after that, you will have 3 player versus player combats, followed by a carousel where we get the chance to get items off a carousel. And by the way, you can never purchase items in this game. You can only get them from minion rounds or from the carousels, which is one of the little oddities. You might think you should be able to purchase items, but you can't. So as I said, we have some initial planning rounds against minions. Then we have 3 rounds against players. Then this item carousel. Then 2 more rounds against players. And then we have another minion round, and then it just repeats again, and it keeps repeating that same process over and over and over again as the game keeps going on. So in terms of the carousels, the players who are the lowest health will pick first, and then it'll keep going until the players with the most health pick last. It's one of the catch-up mechanisms in this game, is it gives you a chance to, if you're low on health, you can maybe get the first pick of items. The items do come on a champion, and although normally you'll be picking for the item that you want, because as I said, this is the only way you can get items, is from the item carousels or from the minion rounds. Sometimes you might have a champion, and sometimes you might just pick because you want that champion off the carousel. That's a little bit less likely, but sometimes that is the case. And it's one of those fun little things where you get to make some interesting choices, and again, it's a catch-up mechanism for the teams that are behind. The way that the game works is when you win rounds, you deal damage to the other player. The closer the round, the less damage the loser takes. The more of a blowout the round is, the more damage that the loser ends up taking. So far I've been winning, but I ended up having my main unit, Katarina, ended up dying in this fight, and so I do end up losing this round, and so I'm going to end up taking 5 damage. I was at 100 health, and now I dropped down to 95 health. The game will keep doing this until everybody in the lobby is eliminated. It'll just keep doing these player versus player rounds until everybody is out of the lobby. Damage also increases as the game goes on. On stage 2, you don't take a lot of damage. On stage 5 and 6, you do take a lot of damage. They're like the base amount of damage you take from losing increases as the game goes on. And again, that's just a way to have the game just come to a conclusion faster so that it doesn't run on and on and on endlessly. So let's cover a little bit more about how the shop works down there. You might notice down at the bottom of the screen, we have different champions listed. You can always see their abilities. You get the portrait art. It's pretty wacky for a whole bunch of these units. I tend to like the sets where they use more of the base portrait art from League of Legends, but this set uses kind of a lot of weird skin lines and wacky portrait art, but you get the idea. So we can buy different champions in the shop. They have different costs associated with them. Obviously, the units have different traits, but they also have different cost levels associated with them. And that's how much they cost to purchase in the shop. You can see, for example, right now we have Kaisa, who's a 2 cost, Kale, who's a 1 cost, Ari and Darius, who are 3 costs, and Lux, who's a 2 cost. The more expensive units tend to be the stronger units. Now, the game is not always perfectly balanced. In particular, I'm playing this unit, Katarina, who is a 2 cost unit. But generally speaking, the more expensive a unit is, the stronger those units are. The 1 cost units tend to have pretty basic abilities, but like the 5 cost units will have abilities that will hit the entire board and do all sorts of crazy effects. So it's a setup where you really can play into different things as the game goes on. By the way, I'm going to get some more items here on the minion round, get some additional money, get some additional items, and then I'll have to think about who I want to put some of these items on as the game goes on. I'm also going to level here to level 6 because that lets me play an additional unit. I didn't really have an additional unit to play, but I had the money to do so, and I'll talk more about the in-game economy in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and make a item called make an item called Jeweled Gauntlet on Katarina. That's going to cause her to deal more damage, and then I'm going to make a tank item for Garen and go from there. So, as I said, all these different units in the shop, so different cost tiers. And you might be thinking, well, what dictates which units will show up in the shop? Well, there's actually little percentage odds there. Right above the Vi on the interface that currently says 30%, 40%, 25%, 5%, 0%. Those are the odds to get each unit of each cost tier. So 30% odds for the 1 cost, 40% odds for the 2 costs, and so on and so forth. Those odds are dictated by your level. So early on in the game, you'll only see 1 and 2 cost units. As your level increases, you can see the 4 and 5 cost units. By the way, we also have another augment here. This one is a gold augment, which means it's a little bit stronger in terms of its effects. The first one was a silver augment. So I'm looking at the different effects here. I'm actually going to take one called Plot Armor. Your team gains armor and magic resistance. After units fall below 50% health, they get additional armor and magic resistance for the rest of combat. And that's just because that's going to be a pretty good augment on Katarina. She has to kind of get up in the faces of the enemy units. And this is going to make her a little bit tankier, a little bit harder to kill. Alrighty, so I was covering the cost tiers. Like I said, we have the different cost tiers for the different units. And as your level increases, the odds to see units at different cost tiers will change. So you will be more likely to find the 4 and 5 cost units as your level increases. Right now at level 6, I actually can't see 5 cost units at all. The odds are 0%. So I literally can't get the 5 cost units at all. And again, that's to make the game, as the game goes on, you will be moving into like the more expensive units. And generally speaking, you want to move into higher cost units as the game goes on. You don't want to be playing a board of like all 1 cost units as you get deeper into the gameplay because you're just going to get outscaled by other players. Right now, I actually have 2 Katarinas on the board, which is kind of silly. But I've actually managed to hit 6 Katarinas so far. On that note, you may have noticed when you get 3 copies of the same unit, they will star up into a 2-star unit. And by the way, I'm going to find a Rise here, and I'm going to be happy to play that unit. I'm just going to replace the Callista. Rise is a 4-cost unit who also has Executioner trait, so I'm going to play into that unit as well. But if you get 3 copies of the same unit, they star up into a 2-star version of the unit. I currently have a 2-star Garen. I have double 2-star Katarinas, and then that's it. I don't have any other 2-star units. Generally speaking, you want to try to 2-star most of your units if you can. The 1-star units, just not as good. By starring up, the units get more stats, they get more health, their abilities deal more damage. You get the idea. They're just stronger kind of in every way to get the 2-star versions of the unit. And in addition to that, there is also the concept of a 3-star unit. If you get 9 copies of the unit, so 3 2-stars, the unit will star up again and become a 3-star unit. By the way, Katarina is printing me all kinds of gold this round. Good job, Katarina. So that's actually what I'm going for here. I'm trying to get a 3-star Katarina, which means I need 9 copies of the unit. And I already have 6 of them, so I'm already getting reasonably close to hitting this. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to do my best to try to hit 9 copies of the Katarina, and then I will look to go back and try to level from there. So now it's time for another item carousel. I am last pick because I'm on a nice winning streak here. I am trying to get the tier because I'm trying to make an item called Hand of Justice for my Katarina, which is going to give her some healing. When she deals damage, she'll heal. So I'm hoping that I can get that, but I am last pick. And yeah, someone's actually going to end up taking that, which is not what I wanted. So that's a bit unfortunate, but there's not a lot I can do about that. Again, it's one of the game's catch-up mechanics is when you're behind, you get to pick first on the carousels. So I'm just going to have to do my best to work around that. Alrighty, so in terms of the shops, I'm going to go ahead and make a Thief's Glove here and just stuff this on Rise for the time being. I'm going to play the Rakan over the Jace on my board. By the way, I find another Rise here, which is pretty wild, and another Rakan, but I'm not finding more in the way of Katarinas, which is the unit I actually want to play. So in the way that this works, you might be thinking, well, why are you seeing more shops here? Like where are the shops coming from? And that goes back to the little numbers in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, right below where it says level 6. It will say buy XP 4 gold, reroll 2 gold. So you can spend your gold in a couple different ways. Obviously, you spend gold to buy the champions themselves. They have their own cost associated with them. But you can also spend 4 gold for 4 experience. Or on top of that, you can spend 2 gold to reroll the shop. And rerolling the shop just is like it's the start of a new round. You just get a fresh, like a card hand, like a flop of cards if you're playing poker. You can spend 2 gold just to get a fresh set of champions. And that, of course, eats into your economy. But if you're trying to reroll to get stronger, it'll get you the chance to see more shops. So that's how I'm spending my gold right now. I'm trying to hit more copies of Katarina. I'm trying to hit the remaining ones. And by the way, I get a 2-star rise, which is just wild. For this one, I'm going to get the chance to assign another power-up. You get a second power-up on 3-6. Again, this is the unique set mechanic. I'm looking at this. I'm going to take this one, Killer Instinct. Your abilities target low health champions and gain additional mana regen. So Rise is now going to take over as like my secondary carry. It is, by the way, wild that I've hit 3 Rises when I'm level 6. I only have 5% odds to see the 4-cost units, and I've seen 3 Rises already. So Rise stars up, becomes a 2-star unit. He's going to be my other carry, and now I have to get a better item than a Thief's Glove on him. Thief's Glove rolls 2 random items at the start of each round, and like he's rolled tank items this round, which is not what Rise wants. He's a backline spellcaster, so I definitely would like to get him some real items and not just a Thief's Glove there. As it turns out, my items are going to be a little wonky throughout this game. I don't manage my items as well as I probably should have throughout over the course of this game. But yep, we're just sitting here, we're re-rolling, we're trying to find more copies of Katarina. We're getting very close on the Katarina 3-star. And I'm just trying to be patient here. Now, you might be thinking, why am I re-rolling on level 6? Like, why this level in particular? Again, it goes back to the cost odds associated with each unit. If you see on the interface, Katarina is a 2-cost unit. I have 40% odds to see the 2-cost units here at level 6. This is where the odds are highest to see 2-cost units. If I go to level 7, I will have better odds to see the 3, 4, and 5-cost units, but I'll have lower odds to see the 2-cost units. So that's why it makes more sense for me to stay here on level 6 than it is for me to try to go to level 7. And I am going to hit the Hand of Justice. That's the item I wanted there. And now I'm on 8 Katarinas, so I'm just going to be rolling aggressively for that 9th and final Katarina. So I'm like, come on, I just need 1 more Katarina. Can I hit this unit? And then I'm going to move the Thief's Glove off of the Rise because I want to build real items on Rise, and I'll just stuff this on the Rakan for right now. All right, so let's go. Void Staff, another good spellcasting item. And then I was trying to see if... Oh, I guess I waited another round to see if I could hit this. So now I'm trying to see if I can get up to the that last Katarina, because I have 2 cats on the board. That's 6 Katarinas. They're both 2-starred. And then I have 2 more 1-star copies on the bench. So I have 8 of them. And you can see my board has kind of fallen off a little bit because Katarina's not a 3-star unit. I need my board to get a little bit stronger here. I'm like close to being very strong because I've hit the Rise 2-star and I'm on 8 out of 9 Katarinas, but until I get that 9th one, I'm not as strong as I could be. And then once I have that, I will go back to leveling. I kind of paused leveling here for a little bit to try to find these missing Katarinas, but I do need to get back to leveling soon. Now, our final augment is going to be Prismatic, and this is the strongest augment. Like, what you choose here is really important, and I actually get one that's going to give me a Battle Academia emblem. This is going to allow me to turn a unit into Battle Academia who does not naturally have the trait. And I'm going to assign it to Garen. By the way, here, I'm hitting a lot of my units, but I need that last Katarina, so I'm just rolling. I'm like, can I hit this unit? I just need 1 more. Come on. And then I hit a Yumi, who is a unit that I really want to play on this board. So I will go ahead and put Yumi on the board. She is one of the main carries in a Battle Academia team comp. And now I need to try to find some items for Yumi as well. So yeah, and look at all the Battle Academia units I have on the bench. I have all kinds of these. I actually have 6 out of 7 Battle Academia. So I really want to get 1 more unit on the bench, on the board, so I can get the 7 Battle Academia in. That ability will just it'll make all of the abilities of my Battle Academia units stronger by getting up to the 7 of the trait. All the Battle Academia units do different things, and just going deeper into the trait makes their abilities stronger in terms of what they do. So like Katarina has a blink ability. After she casts, she will blink somewhere else on the map, and it'll just cause her blink ability to deal more damage. Again, though, you can see I'm losing these rounds, and it's because I don't have the 3-star Katarina. My board is getting outscaled. But I'm cutting into my economy by rolling here. So now's a good time actually to cover the economic side of the game. There we go. I do hit the Cat 3, thank goodness. Now I will level and put another unit on the board. I'm going to choose to play Jace. And I actually don't have to play Caitlyn in this game. I thought I would. Normally I would have to play Caitlyn to get up to 7 Battle Academia, but because I because I got that emblem, I actually don't need to play the Caitlyn. So that's going to be fantastic. I can just sell the Kate for additional econ. Okay, let's cover the economy side of the game, because it's actually really important in terms of how the game plays out. How do we get money in this game? Well, First of all, you always get a set amount of money every round. You always get 5 gold every round. Like, that will happen regardless of anything else taking place. So that's the basis. You always get 5 gold every round. There are some abilities that give you additional gold. For instance, Katarina has had this power-up that's causing her to execute enemies and get gold. And that's been really helpful throughout the game. It's given me a ridiculous amount of extra money throughout this game. So that can also give you money, but that's pretty rare. That's like not reliable. All right, we'll get back to the economy discussion in a minute. We have to do another one of these carousels here. Once again, I have the most health in the lobby, so I will be last pick. I would like to get either a rod or a tear because those are spellcasting items, and my board mostly deals magic damage. I don't really deal physical damage with this team. So like rods are good here, tears are good here. I could also take a frontline item and try to put it on Garen because my frontline's a little bit shaky here as well. And yeah, out of these options, I will go ahead and take the rod. And that's going to be pretty nice. I can pair that with the sword, and I can go ahead and make a gun blade and slap that on, I guess, Rise for right now. That's another spellcasting item. Hey, there's 2-star Jace. Okay, as I said, so in terms of money, you will always get 5 gold every round. In addition to that, you can get additional gold from win streaking or loss streaking in this game. The longer a streak you're on, the more income you will get. It starts when you have 2 wins or 2 losses in a row. And then it goes up from there. I believe if you get up to 4, I think it's if you get up to 4 wins or losses in a row, then you start getting 2 gold extra per round. And then I think it caps out at 6. They've adjusted this many times over the years, so I can't remember exactly where it goes up to 2 additional gold. But I know it caps out at 6. If you have won 6 rounds in a row or lost 6 rounds in a row, then you will get 3 additional gold per round. And again, that's pretty significant, as you can imagine. Instead of getting 5 gold per round, if you're on a huge win streak, you get 8 gold per round. That's a pretty big increase. In addition to that, it also applies if you're on a big loss streak. By the way, I actually just knocked a player out. That poor team's already out of the game. It also applies if you're on a big loss streak. So if you have lost, 4, 5, 6 rounds in a row, you are also generating additional income. And the game keeps track of your win or loss streak right there on the interface. Right next to your gold total, there's a little flame indicator. Red if you're winning, blue if you're losing. So I've won 2 rounds in a row, so I will get 1 additional gold of income over the base. So again, always get 5 gold, and then you can get additional gold for winning or losing. Now, the other big mechanic that gives you income in this game is interest. For every 10 gold in the bank, you gain 1 additional gold income. That caps out at 50 gold. So if you're over 50 gold in the bank, you get an additional 5 gold income per round. And this is really significant because, if you have 0 gold in the bank and you're not on a win or loss streak, you're only getting 5 gold. But if you do have 50 gold in the bank and you get an additional 5 gold, suddenly you're getting 10 gold per round. I mean, that's double the gold. So there's a big incentive to try to get up to 50 gold and stay over 50 gold if you can, because you get so much additional income every round. Does cap out at 50, as I said. Going up to 60, 70, 80 does not do anything extra for you. So that is one of the big push and pulls in the gameplay is you want to get up to the 50 gold because it gives you so much extra income. And you can see, like, I'm staying right now at over 50 gold. I'm going to just slow level and put my additional gold I get each round into leveling because I want to get up to level 8 and level 9 to play more units at this point. However, the trade-off is while that gold is sitting in your bank, it is not doing anything for your team. Like, 50 gold in the bank, it gives you additional income, but you're not using it to reroll the shop, to see more champions, to see more stuff. You're not using it to buy champions. You're not using it to push levels. So one of the key things in the gameplay is knowing when to sit there and try to get additional econ and when you want to, like, push levels. So, like, right there, I went below 50 gold again. And now I'm trying to find Leona is the last unit I'm trying to find here. So I'm rolling it down. I'm eating into my economy because I'm trying to get my board stronger. In particular, I'm trying to find a Leona, and there she is. I'm going to replace the Jace with her. And now I do not need to play Jace anymore. Leona is a 4-cost Bastion. She actually has the identical traits to Garen. And here I'm going to look to pull an item. I'll go ahead and make a Warmogs. And then now I've got this leftover glove. And I'm not like, I was like, all right, I'm going to reforge this. And okay, I get another belt. And I was like, that's not quite what I was looking for here. So I'm going to try to reforge it again. And then I'm going to get a cloak, which is not what I wanted either. I'm trying to get another tank item that I can make with this. I could technically make an item called Evan Shroud, but that's a physical resistance shred, and it's not really going to help my board to have that happen. So I'm going to try to reforge this item again. I'm really looking for like a tier here or a rod here or something. Oh, and I also end up making a kind of a big mistake here. You do have these items called removers where you can move items around. I end up moving this Thief's Glove from the, and by the way, there's another Leona. So I'm actually almost 2-starred my whole board here. I have a Leona pair and a Cassante pair. But I am going to end up making kind of a mistake here. I put a Thief's Glove on Yuumi, and Yuumi is like one of my other big carries as I reforge this once again, and I get another glove. So I had a glove, I reforged it into a cloak, and then I reforged it and it went back to the glove again. And I was like, yeah, that's not what I wanted. I really wanted to get a tank item that I could make off that. I wanted to get like a tier, or I could even make, or like a vest, or like another belt, or something like that. Or if I got a bow, I could use it for a spell casting item, but yeah. Didn't really get the items I wanted there. And now I have the items for an item called Guard Breaker, which is not terribly useful on most of my units. But the biggest mistake I made is I put this Thief's Glove on Yuumi. And the problem is Yuumi is supposed to be like one of my main carries. So I'm kind of using Katarina as main carry. Ryze is like my secondary carry. And then Yuumi is like my third carry. And together that should give me enough damage to make my way through the game. But the problem is I put the Thief's Glove on Yuumi. And this means that Yuumi is rolling random items every round. And Yuumi has 2 tank items on her right now. She has a Sunfire Cape and a Gargoyle Stone Plate. These are tank items. When Yuumi rolls tank items on her Thief's Glove, my team's effectiveness goes way, way down. Like way, way down. So I really would have done better to put this Thief's Glove on a frontliner. I probably should have just put it on the Leona because she'll become one of my main tanks. I'm intending for Rakan to become my main tank. I'm close to 3-starring him. I actually have 7 Rakans right now. So my goal is to 3-star the Rakan as well and use him as the main tank. By the way, Katarina is going to clutch this fight out. Good job, Katarina there. But the Thief's Glove is bad because when Yuumi rolls like tank items or physical damage items, she's pretty useless. And the other thing is it stops me from putting real items on the Yuumi. Because like there are a couple items here that would be pretty good on Yuumi. I could put the Spear of Shojin on her. That's a spellcasting item. I could put a Gunblade on her. That's another spellcasting item. But like I can't put these on her because she has a Thief's Glove. So it's not really going to be useful. And so all I can really do is take these are all physical damage items. So all I can do is take one that's like a physical damage item that gives a little tankiness, which is the Sterix, and I'm going to put it on Rakan. I also burned all my reforgers, so I can't reforge this item into something that's potentially more useful. So, yeah, my itemization is a little wonky in this game. It's not quite what I want. Like I said, the Thief's Glove should probably be on either Cassante or Leona, and then I should be building like real carry items on the Yuumi, and like that's going to cut into the effectiveness of my team. But anyway, that's maybe a little bit more advanced than we need in this video. The point is that I should probably make for this intro video is you have limited number of things like item removers, which allow you to pop items off your champions. I have one more item remover left. You get one you get one on each minion round, so you have a limited number of chances to take items off of units. If you have no item removers though and you need to get something off, you have to sell the unit. In earlier versions of TFT, there were no item removers, and if you wanted to get an item off, you had to sell the unit, which was not especially player-friendly, but that's how the game worked back in the day. In addition to that, you also will typically get some reforgers. I believe you're not guaranteed to get reforgers, but you often will get them. And that allows you to re-roll an item into another item, although it's random what you get. This is the team I'm watching here. This is the team I'm most concerned about. This team is playing a mech board. That means they get an additional unit, like a big Gundam robot. And they have managed to hit a 2-star Yone. Yone is a 5 cost. They have given Yone a power-up. They've also given Yone a Radiant item, which is a stronger version of a normal item. He has Radiant Hand of Justice. That unit is an absolute monster, and I am very worried about whether I can ever actually beat that board, because that board definitely looks like the strongest in the lobby. I need to get up to level 9 where I can play another 5-cost unit to try and keep up with the power level of that lobby. At least Katarina has printed me just an insane amount of gold in this game, like an absolutely ridiculous amount of gold. And hey, look at this, we're now top 4. The way that the game treats this is top 4 is considered a win, bottom 4 is considered a loss. If you're in the ranked game mode, which this is not, this is a normal game, in the ranked game mode, you gain the ranking points for a top 4 finish and you lose them for a bottom 4 finish. So we are down to just 4 other players in the lobby. So the game doesn't have too much time remaining. As I said, this is the board. This person, Naris, is the one I am by far the most concerned about because that 2-star Yone is going to be insanely strong. I'm not sure if my board is going to be able to beat that, but I have to do my best. All right, I do get another item remover here. I'm also getting some champions I don't want. So now I've built my economy back up to back up to 50 gold again. I'm going to pull my item anvil here. And again, I wouldn't mind getting some items for a Yuumi, but I can't really make use of them because Yumi's got the Thief's Glove. I really should have moved the Thief's Glove off Yuumi and taken like the Spear of Shojin here, but I believe that's not the direction I ended up going. I think I ended up taking another tank item here, and I believe I ended up taking the Spirit Visage. Then I also burn an item remover to move my items over to, or no, never mind. I put them on the, I wanted to get that random floating belt off of the whatchamacallit, the Rakan there. But I burned an item remover to do that, which was probably not the best use of that. Anyway, this round is the round against that Yone that I've been talking about, and I do kill the Yone, so that's nice, but then the enemy team's Rise kills my Rise, so I was not as strong as that team. Unfortunately, I did end up losing to them. We also lost another player. Now we're down to just 3 players remaining, and I'm going to go ahead and purchase this Lee Sin, and I'm going to, let's see, do I go ahead and level here? I think I wait another round before I look to level. And I would like to go to level 9. It is, of course, very expensive to go to level 9. It costs 80 gold to get there, or 80 XP, which you usually have to spend gold on. So it's going to take a little while to get there. But yeah, that's my goal, is to try and put the Lee Sin on my board. Lee Sin is a 5-cost unit, and he has a unique ability in this set, which is that he can actually have 3 different traits. You pick which of trait you want. He can be a Juggernaut trait, he can be a duelist, or he can be an Executioner. And I wanted to be an Executioner because Katarina has Executioner trait, Rise has Executioner trait. This is clearly the trait that I am playing through as I'm playing like Battle Academia / Executioner in this lobby. And also this fight's pretty close. I wish Yuumi didn't have tank items, but no, we're gonna end up losing. I really believe I would have won that round if Yuumi had not had the stupid tank items. I'm pretty sure I would have won that round. Alright, so she's going to roll tank items again. Why does she keep rolling tank items? Anyway, we're going to take Executioner stance for Lee Sin. Now we're level 9, so there's not really a lot more for us to do. We're just trying to hit that one remaining Rakan, which I don't have great odds to hit because I'm level 9 and I only have 18% odds for the 2 costs. But I'm going to just cross my fingers and pray I can hit that final Rakan. And hope for the best there. Now I also decide, okay, well, because I hit 2-star Leona, I'm going to go ahead and move my tank items over to the Leona. I also should have moved that Sterix over to Lee Sin, because it's actually a good Lee Sin item, and it's not a good Leona item. As I said, my itemization was pretty wonky in this game. Made a lot of mistakes, but I just burned an item remover to move those items over to Leona, and now they're not on the... Rakan, who I have 8 out of 9 on, and I'll want those items to be back on Rakan again if he's a 3-star unit. But yeah. So anyway, we're up against the Yone board again, and that Yone is just murdering my whole team. It's not especially close, and yeah, I have not done particularly well each time that I've come up against that board. And you can see I'm down to 19 health in the lobby, so I'm starting to get pretty low here. I'm still last pick because I still have the most health. Now again, I'd like to get an item for Yuumi, but I just burned all my item removers, so I can't put an item on Yuumi. I'd love to pick up that Varus with the death cap and put it on Yuumi, but I can't. I literally can't. So what will I do? I'll go ahead and take this Ionic Spark, because this item is going to be a magic resistant shred for the other team, and I think that would be handy to have on these units. So anyway, by the way, there's another Yone, but I'm not playing Yone. It's the other person playing Yone. You can see the 5-cost units are starting to pop up in my shop. And oh, there's Rakan. But I just moved all my tank items off Rakan. No! As I said, my items in this game were not great. Still, 3-star Rakan is a big boost to my team. He's going to be much tankier now that he's the 3-star version. Now I'll just try to get some additional items on him. I am up against the non-Yone player, this person, Night and Dawn. Although I think they're actually playing... they're playing a duelist board for the most part. They have duelist soul fighter. It's kind of a weird board, which is what you'd expect because it's the first day of the set and people have not fully known how to itemize their boards just yet. So anyway, I'm definitely in better shape now that I hit the 3-star Rakan, And yeah, it looks like we very easily won this round. However, this was a ghost round. That can happen because when there's an odd number of players in the lobby, you still have to fight somebody. But in a ghost round, you you take damage if you lose, but you don't deal damage if you win in a ghost round. Ghost rounds are also infamously buggy. They've always had lots of problems with them. So now it's down to just me and the Yone player, this person, Naris. It's just the two of us. Nobody else is left. Look at the items that Yumi has rolled on her Thief's Glove. She, once again, has rolled 2 tank items. And she's been rolling tank items a lot on that Thief's Glove. So that's going to cut my effectiveness by quite a bit. I was like, really? Rolled the stupid tank items again. So, I'm going to have to try to win this round. I'm down to just 19 health again. So there is a potential for one of us to be knocked out and the game to be over here. If either one of us can deal enough damage to knock the player out, then the game will just be over. If not, we will go to one more round after that, and we'll hit stage 7. All right, so once again, my main targets in this fight are the Rise, who's in the back left corner, and the Yone. The Yone I can't really do a ton to position around, but the Rise I can try. I'm actually on like wrong side here because we're not really focusing Rise. And again, this fight is just kind of a disaster. It's not even close. I get absolutely bowled over. But I fortunately did kill just enough units to survive on 3 HP. If a couple more units on the enemy board had survived, I would have taken 3 more damage, and that would have been it. Like if for every unit you kill, you take 1 less point of damage. And I think they have 9 units on their board, so like if all 9 of them had been alive, I would have taken, I don't know, like additional 5 or 6 damage. I think I killed like 4 or 5 of them. So anyway, I had just enough health to survive. And fortunately, I did bank a lot of health in the early game. This stage 6 has not gone especially well for me. I lost 4 out of 5 rounds, and the only one I won was a ghost round. So yeah, I feel like that other board is just stronger than me. Like, I just feel like it is stronger, but I'm going to, take my best shot here. Maybe I can get lucky and try to win a round here or something like that. So I will get to pull one more item. And I'll grab the Yone just to try and take a Yone out of the pool. But what I really want is another Lee Sin, because I'm trying to hit Lee Sin. And there we go, Lee Sin 2-star. Okay, that will help. And now I have the chance to pull another item. And I was like, it's going to be helpful. An item that'll make Rakan tankier against Yone. Yone deals physical damage. I just got Bramble Vest, which is the big anti-physical damage armor item. I'm like, I'm going to put the Rakan right next to this unit and just hope that that'll make him more tanky. Yumi has also rolled a spellcasting item this time. She rolled Sterix, which is a physical damage unit, but she also rolled a Death Cap, which is a magic damage item. I was like, okay, Yone is spending the start of the fight hitting the Rakan, so that's pretty good. Now, if we can just manage to burst down that Yone. Cat is going really low. Oh, Katarina's low, but she's going to get off one more ult, and the Yone's down! The Yone's down! And my Rise is still alive. My Yumi is still alive. My Cat is still alive. Oh my god. We clutched this out. And I actually end up winning the lobby. I genuinely think the other person's board was stronger there. I do not think I should have won that because I think their team was better. But I got some good fight RNG. Katarina went down very low. She went down to 10% health, but she stayed alive and got like 2 more casts out. And we just barely managed to clutch out a win that maybe I didn't deserve. Well, anyway, it was a fun game, a very exciting game. I thought it would be a good one to use as like a showcase for the gameplay. If you're new to this is a great time to jump in and try to learn the set because everyone's learning it, and maybe you can join us for some games. So until then, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, take care, folks, and I will see you again soon.